Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the DCMI podcast, the Discussing Crazy and Marvelous Images podcast. I'm your host, Raymond. This is Jacob. And today we are going to be reading Battleworld, issue number 1 by Christus Gage, Marcus 2, and R. Rosenberg. If you don't know how we do things, we grade things with 4 categories. We do the story, artwork, characters, and if we're going to keep reading it or not, 1 through 5 scale. I think that's it. I'm going to switch it up today, Jacob, and I'm going to go first with the story.
Yep, go for it. Let's
right.
do it.
So, oh man, I'm not trying to be a bummer here, but I gave the story a 1. Yeah. I gave the story a 1.
Insert, huh? Nani?
Yeah. I gave the story a 1, and
Damn.
I'm only giving it a 1 for specific reasons. I really liked the way they introduced everybody, right? As the characters kind of came in, they were, recognizing each other, even though it's from, different points in time in the time period or whatever. Everybody basically was really smooth transition when they came in. They all got a chance to kind of say who they were, where they're from, who they recognized, and then kind of just be a part of the team. I enjoyed that there wasn't anybody who kind of came and went. Everybody kind of became a part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped the story down though because most of the story, at least for me, was everybody talking to each other and figuring out where they were. The majority of the story was just the team meeting other people and going, "What are we doing here? What's happening?" You know what I mean? Other than the fight with the Sentinels, which was cool. I enjoyed that. That was really the only, action, I guess, in this. I did like though one thing, because the old Battleworld, and I know somebody's gonna, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the old Battleworld, I believe, was a collective of the multiverses or different universes. But I like and I can recognize that they changed this to timelines because A, the multiverse is getting kind of old for people, which I completely understand, and B, it's a way to show different versions of different characters that we could have seen in a multiverse story, but because it's a timeline story, they're kind of able to play with that too. The battle with the Sentinels, right? That was fun, but, and I don't know if you felt this way, you tell me, I never felt like anybody was going to die. Like, not once ever, even against the Sentinels, yeah. Not once was I ever.
Okay.
Yeah, in the issue, I was like, okay, and I don't want to say it felt kiddish to me because it's not what I mean, but it felt like the stakes were real low because I was like, nobody's gonna die here. They're not gonna kill Spider-Man. There's no way they're gonna kill. I guess maybe Hank Pym, the only one that I could have seen gotten killed. But even when they had to take down Maestro, I was like, oh, okay, they killed him, and then they were like, no. We actually just disabled him for 24 hours, and then we're gonna shrink him to a subatomic level. But then I said, bitch, if you could have shrunk him to subatomic level, why did we fight him first?
Yeah.
Like, what? Start with that, man. If I was Thor, I'd be like, bro, I just got hit for you.
Sucker punch.
Sucker punch. You could have just started with this. Why did we even have to have this conversation? So that kind of pissed me off a little bit. But I mean, piss me off is strong. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I don't mean it piss me off.
No, you were envisioning yourself in the group and you were like,
yeah. No, like, absolutely. When I got to that point,
that?
I can't believe they didn't write that in. I can't believe nobody, Bucky, Spider-Man, didn't say, why on earth didn't we start with that?
Yeah.
Because they all knew who Maestro was. I believe they did. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Most, not everybody.
Some of them knew. Yeah. Maestro has never been like a good guy, helpful guy or whatever. Yeah. Like, just start with that. But that was a couple of my main drawbacks of the issue, right? I can understand that the first issue, especially for something like this, has to set up what's going on and introduce people and all of that. So on that level, I understand it. But if I'm just gonna judge it on like the story and the meat of what I got of this issue, there was just nothing there, right? We got introductions, we got to see people, and we got to kind of figure out who was in charge. But that was kind of where it stayed. And then at the end, it showed a preview for the next bad guy or the guy who's gonna run it all, Arcade. Cool ending. I enjoyed the villain, within a villain kind of a thing, but I was like, I have no idea who Arcade is. And that's on me, but I just didn't know who that was, So, yep, I gave it a 1 in this situation. I know.
I think that's the lowest score you've given anything so far. Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
Okay, well, so I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
And the reason I gave that as a little bit opposite of the reasons you didn't like it. If so, I I knew from like the inside cover, right? That paragraph was saying heroes from different timelines in this
Yep,
patchwork world.
yep.
So I was already primed, saying, okay, there's going to be some characters that were from particular periods of time, and they know of each other, but not like the person they're seeing. Like
Yeah.
like the was saying, my Hank, are
Yep,
you
yep,
like my Hank? So
yep.
I was with that said, I was like, okay, there's gonna have to be some dialogue for people to recalibrate. There has to be. They can't
Absolutely.
just like go into a melee and just
Yep.
start, throwing punches and zapping people and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, it showed kind of how people found each other and apparently in the New York City part of the battle world. Right? So I was like, okay, there's some dialogue here to get people acquainted. And I think that was needed as opposed to just getting
I
into fighting right away.
I absolutely agree with you, and I'm not saying it wasn't needed. I'm not saying they shouldn't jump into it, and I'm not even saying that I disliked it really. I'm just from my perspective, if I'm
Yeah.
judging things on the story from last week's issue, the Green Lanterns, the other issues we read before and we talked about, like this one for sure was just the weakest story overall.
Hmm.
What I knew at the beginning, and I can understand too, while I'm not in depth with a lot of these characters, seeing those characters for you was a little bit newer, and I don't think anything I knew from the beginning changed when I got to the end.
Okay.
Other than the two bad guys who I'd never heard of before. So,
Well, Kovac,
What I
Korvac,
Michael
and
Korvac, and then
Arcade.
Arcade. Yep, yep.
So one thing that I did not like, and this was the main reason I gave it a 4 as opposed to like a 5 out of 5, was Korvac's whole intent, his strategy.
Yeah,
He was saying
stupid.
like, I traveled, countless realities through time and space, and I even lived on Earth as a human,
Yep,
for some time to observe. And
yep. From Anthony Stark told him to, right?
exactly. And
Yeah,
he
yeah,
said, what did he say? He said, and in every one of them, meaning realities, humanity is a tragic disappointment.
yeah.
So that was
It's
kind
like
of
it's
funny.
like it's the most generic humans don't deserve to exist bad guy,
Yeah.
shit. So I agree.
But here's the thing. So this guy, right? He was imbued with Galactus power energy,
Something
right,
like
or
that. He
something
was
like
in the
that.
ship, I think.
So he's not omnipotent, but he's very powerful.
Yeah.
And he has seen multiverses, different timelines, so he can travel time and space. So he has a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, a lot of awareness. And his plan was to say, okay, I'm going to pit everyone against each other, and the strongest team or timeline or group of people, characters, whatever. Like, dude, is that not just going in a circle with
Eh, eh,
like, you're not resetting anything. You're
yeah,
just
what are
going
we
to have,
solving?
well, you're not solving shit. You're
Yeah,
just actually you're going to expedite more disappointment because now
right.
you have this group that we killed all these people, and that's the reason we're great because we killed everybody else. Like, bruh,
Absolutely. And unless I'm stupid, it's not even like you made this all with heroes either. So you
yeah.
gave the villains ample opportunity to also win. So I don't get what your goal is. Yeah,
What's your goal?
I don't know. I don't know. And it
He,
also
he
didn't help with that plan that I don't know who this guy is. And again, that's on me, but still, he just wants to watch it all burn, basically. Which
Yeah, he
again,
wants to watch it all burn, or just for his amusement,
which I
or
don't
just
I don't
because he
think has
can.
to be bad. I'm not even trying to make it sound like I think it's like the worst way to write a bad guy. I just like it feels I guess just shallow. I don't know.
Yeah, it's shallow because in reference to who like, if this was Toyman, right?
Yeah.
One of Batman's villains, so he's like human, but he has a lot of technology that he
Hmm.
can, if he created like a battle area and he would kidnap people, say, okay, you have to fight to the death. That is on level with his scale as a villain.
Ability.
Yeah. But this guy, he's like in the cosmos, right? On
Right.
the astral planes. And he said, well, I'm just going to have people fight it out and they'll
Right.
have guns and like, what?
And I know might be reading into it a little too much, but I'm sitting here thinking,
Never.
bro, you had all this power and this is what you decided to do with it?
Right.
Because what I'm hearing is you had the ability to stop a lot of shit,
Mm-hmm.
but you just kind of got all pouty
Mm-hmm.
and decided to make it worse. Like, buddy,
And not just stop, but he could like educate different civilizations with his knowledge to
Right.
help them.
And even if he didn't want to work that hard, I'm talking
Yeah.
about just actual tragedies you could have stopped.
Right.
Just that alone, you could have stopped thousands of tragedies. So I don't know. This guy, if I was Punisher 2099, I would have double tapped him because that would have been pissing me off. All of his talking would have been pissing me off. Like maybe that's what it is. Maybe the villain just was pissing me off. I don't know. I don't
So
know.
like I understood his plan, and to me it was corny as hell. It's like you're complaining about humanity being a constant disappointment, right? And then you're
Right.
doing something that is completely in line with that behavior. But there were some funny parts. So there was one part that I actually laughed out loud. It was on, I think, page 26 or so, but it was towards the end. Maestro, his brain was destroyed, but he was regenerating, so he was out, and they were all kind of talking about, okay, what's next? And Hank Pym was saying, well, I'm going to go off and I'm going to try to figure this out.
Oh,
And then he said, he said,
to
talk to
call
an
an
ant
ant.
if you needed to. And he was like, no, literally, talk to an ant. And it
Right.
was,
They'll tell me. They'll pass the message to me. Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. I thought Spider-Man was pretty funny, man. He just like
oh, very much a
actually
teenager.
very much that's what
Very
I wrote
much.
down. I was like, perfect because yeah, you're 15 with superpowers, right? Like cuz he
Mm-hmm.
said he was Spider-Man for 2
Couple
months or
months
something.
or, yeah, something like that.
If you get powers right for those first 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
you're only fighting regular guys, right? So you think you kind of, walking with your chest out a little bit. And then
Mm-hmm.
you see this
Yep.
like, "Oh shit. Like let me hide real quick. I am not as tough as I thought I was."
Statements from Spider-Man. So when they were talking about like technology, he said, I kind of know tech, but my high school lab is underfunded. That's something a 15-year-old would say.
Exactly.
He
To
was
even
talking
have to use a high school lab and then admit that to people that you're in high
exactly.
school.
He's seeing this human, Hank Pym, like grow and shrink like at a snap of a fingers.
Yeah. And to be fair, he wouldn't even actually complain. So that's a good quality about him specifically. What
I
did you say you gave the story again?
four.
Okay, four.
It was I think like pages 28, 29 or so, but Christos Gage kind of explained saying
Who?
the writer, the writer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he was explaining that, this issue, Battle World, so we would have a lot of characters and there's a lot of like callbacks and references. Instead of like peppering all the pages and panels with caption boxes to kind of
Mm.
give that additional context, he was like, that would cover up, all the artwork. You wouldn't see
Oh yeah.
anything.
Yep.
So he made that
Yep.
that works cited page
Yeah.
essentially, and
And
that was,
and
I like that.
it's good because honestly with something like this, you have to. There's just no way.
Yep.
There's just no way, especially if you're reading this for the first time and you don't know who any of these characters are, but maybe Spider-Man, you
Hmm.
know? So, yeah, absolutely. It's a very cool touch. I agree.
It demonstrated to me, the story is not just the words and the dialogue of characters. There's a structure of, okay,
Yep.
how do I convey the best storytelling to the reader?
You
And
know
those
what it is,
decisions
Jacob?
were good.
You know what it is? It's the through line.
We need a like a jingle or something.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I agree. I mean, that is the cool part though about comic books, right?
Yeah.
Is there's so much history involved that there's so much more in this issue than just what's actually in this issue.
Yep.
Very cool.
So
So I
that
gave it
was
a 1.
you gave it one,
Uh,
I gave it 4, and
gave
we're
it a
doing
4.
artwork.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should go first with the artwork.
So the artwork, I initially gave it a 3 out of 5, but then I read it a second time and I gave it a 4 out of 5 because you kind of mentioned it earlier with the story. I really like those melee battles with the Sentinels because I would sit down and I would study. I would spend a minute or two looking at every single panel, looking at the characters, how they're battling with the Sentinels, using their powers. I really like that. And it's a artwork style that forces you to pause and look at what's going on. And so the rest of the artwork, was in line with expectations. That's why I was gonna give it like a 3 or so. But those melee, even though there weren't that many, those melee battles I liked and I bumped it up to a 4.
Cool. Very cool.
But okay, there's one thing. Now this one, like I was like, the
But
hell? I think what is it? A page, I think 9, is it? When Storm was zapping one of the Sentinels, did that
uh
Sentinel look like he was in pain? or it was in pain?
Um,
It was like using electricity to like
I mean, I see what you mean. I
that
see
look.
what you
It
mean.
looks like it's in pain. Yeah.
I see what you mean. But no, actually, it's funny you say that though. I actually did have that as something I thought was pretty cool. A cool detail is on that same page, the panels
Mm-hmm.
to the left of that.
Mm-hmm.
The shadows do a very good job of giving the Sentinels emotions, right? Because technically their mouths aren't really moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't talk,
The
but the
static. Yeah.
angles of the way that they're looking with the way that the art is and its shadows, it really
Yeah.
gives them the emotions that robots don't have. So
Right.
I thought that was a pretty dope ass detail in this issue.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the artwork. It sounds like both of us. Any of the artwork involving the Sentinels was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. In terms of the combat art, however you want
Mm-hmm.
to phrase it, that's the highlight. It's very entertaining. It's definitely, like you said, in line with what you'd expect, which
Yeah.
I just feel like I need to reiterate is not a bad thing at
It's
all,
not bad.
right? It's not bad, but I did give it a 2.5. And I think I gave it for that reason is because it's, I would say, right down the middle in terms of, you know, expectations. I think they did great jobs with some details. The black and white flashback when they did Kovac
Mm-hmm.
talking to Anthony Stark, and even though it was just kind of brief,
Yeah.
it was a very cool touch to add when nothing else was in black and white. It was very very good and purposeful.
Yeah.
Um oh, and definitely part of the artwork too, and it's a little bit of the characters also, but I thought the timeline thing was really smart because it just gives you versions of different characters. Like Bucky, for instance. I have never really personally seen Kid Bucky, right?
I
So
was
that
gonna
was
ask you
cool.
that. I was gonna
That
ask
was
you because
cool.
I've never like I
No,
had to like. Is that
I,
the Winter
um
Soldier or
I'll put
what?
it I'll put it in here. I don't think that he's had anything, at least that I've not been aware of. I'm sure there
At
might be
that
some
point?
obscure something somewhere. But yeah, I've never seen Bucky pre World War. So that was a cool thing to see, right? And Maestro is awesome. The way he's drawn is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um I'm gonna save that for the characters, but I think the two like throwback outfits, the Luke Cage
Oh
and
yeah.
Carol Danvers,
Yeah.
those are fun. I mean, obviously Luke Cage's it sucks, right? Just in terms of a suit, but it's a fun like throwback thing to have on. It reminds me of a suit that if Luke Cage had a video game, it would be fun to put that suit on just to kind of like, fuck around. Because what I liked about Carol Danvers' Warbird suit is everything that I didn't like about Hawk Girl. You remember how I was talking to you about Hawk Girl and
Oh
uh
yeah. She was
like it was all black, but
black
it
and
didn't
yeah.
like flow right. The Carol Danvers Warbird outfit, I think, is a much better like black outfit, right?
Artwork. So there was two things with artwork. It was Kashala, the Apache woman who's the Ghost Rider character. When she was
Yeah.
introduced, she was on a horse that was like all fire.
Yeah.
Usually, like
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen Ghost Rider depictions, like there's aspects of either the motorcycle or the horse that's on fire, like the eyes or the hooves or the mane or something. This whole thing was all fire. So she was
Yeah.
basically like riding like a horse made out of
No,
fire.
I since you brought it up, I put down, damn this comic.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read a comic with just her in it.
Yeah,
I don't care about
yeah,
any of the other. I like that's what I want to
yeah,
read. So she's by far, at least visually, the coolest character, hands down. There's no question about it.
yeah. Her, it's a combination of the storytelling through the um speech bubbles and the artwork, but going back towards the end when Hank Pym's kind of shrinking Maestro, right, to like
Yeah.
put him away, the speech bubbles were getting smaller and more faint as he was shrinking.
Mm.
So I was like, oh man, that's actually true because if you're a normal sized person and Hank Pym's like shrinking, his voice will get smaller and smaller and smaller. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's a cool detail that I like. So I like these small details with the artwork.
I think the standout uh, art for me, the pages in here, page 4, when they show the world and the
Oh,
different timelines
right.
of people, I thought that was pretty dope. And then the second time they did that, page 19, when they were showing all the timeline of
Mm-hmm.
superheroes, they showed the 2099, they showed X-Men, And I know some of these other characters, but I'm not sure what teams these are. But that was, I think, the standout for me
Mhm.
with the artwork. And then one last detail that I thought was, again, they only did it one time, but it was just a really perfectly timed thing. When Storm came in and she used her
Mhm.
powers, the background kind of inverted for just that one little part,
Let me
and it's just dope ass way to highlight her superpowers.
Oh,
Because you can be
I see what you
boring,
mean.
but they decided to just really like, even though they used it once,
Yeah.
just kind of go all out for it. You know?
And the, I think onomatopoeias is to call it, the words that show the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
it was
crap.
white, shown with little kind of faded a little bit to show the electricity, the power of it going into the center.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
cool. That was cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
So there are some highlights, and it's positive. It's not me giving it a 2.5 is not negative. I just want to kind of reiterate that. You know?
Raymond, if you have to qualify every rating, that means that means something different. It's not one is not bad, people. One's not bad, but
No,
the
no. I
reason
but you're right. You're right. Because people could connotate that as me saying, no, but you gave it a one. That
no,
means like I
yeah,
didn't enjoy the
it's
story.
not
You
for
giving it a
you.
four, you giving it a four is not shocking to
Yeah,
me. You know what I mean? That's literally the nature of comic books. 10 people like
10,
something,
yeah,
100 people
10,
hate it.
yeah, 10
You know what I
people
mean?
look at it. They got 10 different experiences from it. So,
Exactly.
uh, you did
The
2.5
characters.
artwork. I did 4.
Yep.
Okay, next characters.
Yep. Yep. I'll go with this one first. I think the characters were the strongest part of the issue.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, right? It had to lean on the characters because that's kind of all that was going on. Spider-Man's quips, like you said before, actually made me smile. It was good. Especially, I think it was a perfect addition to making him a 2 month into his
Mm-hmm.
career
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, because that's just everything he's thinking he's saying out loud.
Eh,
Because when you know that, I feel like you're less annoyed by the fact that he like won't shut
yeah.
up. You know what I mean?
When okay, the way they wrote those quips, like you said, and all those statements he made, I was like, this is almost perfectly written for a 15-year-old Spider-Man. Him going to
Absolutely.
Luke Cage, man, I want a battle cry. Can I say Sweet Christmas? Like,
Sweet
no, hell
Christmas.
no.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like, I want one. Man. Y'all have one. I want one. That's so cool. And then he said, oh, we have a Hulk and a Thor. I don't I've heard we got a Hulk, right? I haven't heard
right.
someone say we got a Thor as if it's like some non-sentient entity. Like it was just like we got this brooding Hulk thing, but
Yeah, yeah,
Thor, a
yeah.
god. So it was like Spider-Man. He just goes from brain to mouth, and that's it. So his
Absolutely. Which is who he's always been. And so it's never not welcome, especially when every character is not trying to be
yeah.
funny. It's good for just Spider-Man to be
But
funny.
in comparison to Bucky Barnes, when he said I'm 17, I was like, shit, I was not expecting that. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, he is at some point in his life, but when he said, "Hey, I'm 17," the contrast of Spider-Man, my 15-year-old, and then Bucky
Yeah.
Barnes, who's in war, like it
Well,
grows you up quick.
and then when he said dudes our age were in Normandy or
Yeah.
whatever, it was like, didn't really think about 15-year-old storming the beaches of Normandy.
Bucky is here. He's like, okay, we have to have battle formations, we have to have strategies, exit strategies, we
Yeah.
have to flank, and Spider-Man's just like, oh man, that's so cool, and oh look at that. It was just a funny comparison of basically peers. Yeah. Uh so Luke Cage, right? The 1970s design.
Hmm.
And his dialogue was
No, that was pissing me off. I was like, did they only give this black man like catchphrases? Did he not get any actual
I
goddamn
know,
lines in
man.
here? I was like, what's going on? Are they being funny? Is what I was like,
He
I couldn't tell if they were trying to be funny or if he was actually talking, you know what I mean? Talking that way.
so
I could not tell.
I have two opinions. One, I'm saying, okay, if y'all are trying to be funny, like you failed. It's corny, like you
Yeah, that's
jive turkey,
exactly.
like and
Yeah, it's
but then I'm
crazy.
saying, okay, if he was plucked out of like 1974, right? He may have some dialogue like that in real life.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'm like, are you trying to, pay homage to the original character?
Here's the deal. This is where that argument just crumbles. This is where Bucky Barnes is from
Hmm.
1930 and he was talking completely
Normal.
normal. So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Like what's going on? So I don't want to hear any of that shit.
He
Okay, they should have gave him a line or
give him
two
a
saying, "Hi, I'm Luke
yeah.
Cage." He didn't even say that.
No.
Jive
Jive
turkey
turkey
is
owes
sweet
me money.
Christmas were the only lines he got in there. So that was kind of lame, honestly. I did not. I didn't find it funny, and not only did I not find it funny, I couldn't tell if they were trying to be funny or not.
I so
I really
so
couldn't.
it's like I was reading Luke Cage. I was saying when I saw that Jive turkey, I was like, please don't write out stupid ass racist stereotypes where he's trying to hit on all the white women and
Yeah, that would have been a wild way to take it. But you know what though? I was really disappointed in Storm's costume.
mm,
Like she was in like prison jumpsuit, and I was like, dude, she's got one of the coolest like
yeah.
designs. So I was disappointed not to see that. But on the opposite of the way Luke Cage talked that I did not like, I did like the way that Thor talked. Every time Thor said something, I had to read it like 2 or 3 times just to make sure I
Yeah.
understood what he was
Yeah.
saying. Because in real life, if I was listening to Thor, I'd be like, bro, can you say that again,
Yeah.
please? Just say it one more time, please. So I genuinely did have to read it a couple of times to make sure I understood what he was saying.
And this was like older Thor, like King Thor or something at this point.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yep.
he was like, I'm not the golden, what did he call it? He said a word.
The golden.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I can't remember either.
Godling.
It's funny. I thought Thor was hilarious.
Here's a
So,
character that I really liked. The Sentinels. I love how they announced everything. What they were, their
Yeah.
attacks, their analysis. Seeing, a new
Yep.
character come in. Okay, I have to do my scanning and get the the data. It's so, but it's also
It's really
it made me think
impractical.
of like I don't know, like basketball players, Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, where they would say what they're gonna do,
Just telling
and they
somebody
still
what they were
did
gonna
it.
do. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
stop
yeah,
it. It was
absolutely.
like, damn.
Yeah. So I said the coolest character visually was Kushala, the Spirit
Yeah.
Rider, and like I realized that I think Ghost Rider might be my favorite character in Marvel aside from maybe Spider-Man. Because Ghost Rider can literally be in anything, and if it just looks
Mhm.
cool, Ghost Rider is the definition for me of rule of cool.
Okay.
It doesn't matter the context, it doesn't matter the reason. If it looks cool, it works. A flaming horse works because it's Ghost Rider.
I'm not that familiar with that character, but
Me
just
neither.
personally, I really like seeing indigenous Native American characters. I just
Yeah.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Her being Apache woman, like the warrior tribe, so she's a fighter. And
Yep.
but it was also kind of interesting. They were saying, "Do the penance stare," and she's like, "What? What are y'all talking about?"
Oh, and she didn't know what
Like,
that
what is
was.
this?
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
familiar.
That
Yeah.
was I was like, I want to know more about that because I want to know how you don't know about that. It's not as if you just get these powers with no context.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody usually is kind of explaining what's going on
Yeah.
here. So that is
And-
interesting. Which also actually makes me feel like she might be new at this too, like Spider-Man, like a month or
So
two
she
in.
called herself as well. She said Sorcerer Supreme, but her
That's
her
right.
powers aren't like working on this battle world as well.
That was
So
interesting.
that
was
made me
definitely-
think,
yeah.
okay, is there like a tangent from the traditional Ghost Rider kind of set of powers or abilities? Because she doesn't know what certain powers are, but she has other powers that she can't really tap
Right.
into.
Yeah.
I can never recall like a Ghost Rider using like magic.
I'm sure it's happened,
Yeah.
but I'm
Not top of mind.
at least it's situational, I think, if he does use magic.
So
for
yeah,
sure.
her character design was I like that.
Coolest.
So what's your grade?
Did I not tell you my grade? What did I say? 0.5
3.5
for the characters. Yeah, I thought the characters were the no question standout of the issue.
Okay.
And I wanted to actually, I don't know Janet and Hank's relationship in the comics because am I crazy? Is Janet not his daughter in the movies? Or is Janet his wife?
So this wasn't part of the issue. The preview of issue 2, like 2 or 3 pages, right? They did comment on that about her being the daughter.
Okay.
And also
Okay, she just calls him Hank.
and also like let me see here. When the writer he had his like works cited, I guess, or referrals. He said that Hank's daughter is Nadia Van Dyne, aka the Unstoppable Wasp, in panel 2 on page 1. So yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I did have to say I like Bucky Barnes when he shot Baron Zemo.
But
He said,
yeah,
"Anyone a
yep,
Nazi wants dead is someone I'm inclined to call a friend." He was kind
absolutely.
of woke, man, a little bit.
And well, here's the deal. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. You know why?
I,
No. I'm just saying that's not woke.
I
You're just fucking fighting
exactly.
Nazis. What are we talking about? That's
It's
not
kind of
woke.
like
That's
the
crazy.
the
That's stupid.
the what is it? The most common denominator. You don't like Nazis? Okay, you shouldn't. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. It's like everybody not liking feces on the
Right.
wall. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
It's like
saying? It's like that's just something we all should
you
just like.
shouldn't.
That's not a political thing. It's not liking Nazis. You know why?
Yeah.
Because unless you're a very specific person, ancestored from a very specific
Mm-hmm.
country, all of our countries fought
Mm-hmm.
them. It's not as if your grandparents, our grandparents, great grand, whoever the
Mm-hmm.
hell didn't like. So it's all stupid. I don't get it.
And
It's
see,
dumb.
the reason I said that was because there will be some readers who will like
Oh
of a different
God.
demographic who will roll their eyes because later
Oh
on, after they defeat the Sentinels, like Thor said, "You dare dismiss the Lord of Asgard villain," and Korvac left. He's gone. Sounds more like the master race crap to me.
yeah,
So I
yep,
know there will be some
yeah. No, you're
people
absolutely
though.
right because
He's woke.
they freaked out over Batman breaking a Nazi's arm.
Yes. Yep.
So you're right. That's funny.
Okay. So 3.5.
But yeah, I characters were great though. The characters being good is the only reason I was in it the way I
Yeah.
was. I keep saying crazy things today. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know
But
if I said my score, but if I didn't, I gave it a 5. And the
oh
reason I
wow.
gave it a 5 is because Battleworld, I'm primed already mentally to know there's going to be a gang of characters. So when we were talking about Green Lantern and I gave the story load rating because I like too many characters and they only like name
Yeah.
drop 1 or 2 panels here and there. So I did
Yeah.
appreciate that
Well,
there are a
and I
lot of
think
characters.
I think I agree with what you're saying because of the fact that there were multiple Green Lanterns that we didn't even know the name
Right.
of. But everybody at least got introduced by themselves or someone
Yeah.
else. So
And
I agree
they
with
were
that.
all of them literally were involved in some aspect of a battle.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't just name dropping because there was Nimrod, there was Doctor Doom, the Stranger, Beyonder. Those were just name dropped, but you never saw any image of them or additional referrals.
Yep.
Okay, so
And then at the end too, the characters. Hold up, I gotta give a shout out to Absorbing Man and
yeah,
Titania. Those were good drops. Those were good drops. You mentioned Absorbing
right,
Man,
yeah, I
didn't you,
did.
the other day? Yeah.
Again, you know more comic book lore than I do, and you didn't know Arcade. I didn't know Arcade, but as soon as I
Nah.
saw him, I was like, he looks the part. So I guess now the question is, will
Yep.
we want to keep reading this?
Yeah. You go
I
first.
will.
You go
Okay,
first.
so I'll say yes. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, and it's a very linear. Even though it's odd that you have characters from all sorts of timelines, but for me, it's a very linear story. You have this planet, and you have different geologies. You have different people and characters. So I know that there's going to be progressively more and more battles. Coming to maybe a huge battle or war. So that to me is interesting because I want to see like characters I have no idea. I never knew they existed, what powers they have, what
Yep.
abilities they have. So I
Yeah.
like seeing the melees, and this
Yep.
will have melees in it. So that's why this issue would make me want to continue reading it.
Yep. Cool. I gave it a 1.5.
She, bruh.
Yeah.
Damn.
And well, so it was enjoyable for being one issue, right?
Okay.
Like I would not complain. I'd read it again, right? But if we're talking about keep reading it, the Battle World story in and of itself, especially right now going through DCKO and that sort of thing, I think the KO is a much better version of this. So for me, I feel like I'm eating good at this restaurant. I don't think I need to go, get the same thing at a restaurant I don't like as much, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad story. It's not if you're into Marvel and you like the first original Battle World, I don't think you're gonna hate it at all. But just for me personally, it's not something that I think is doing it better than what I'm already reading.
Okay.
You know,
So yeah, relatively speaking, there's other storylines that you like better.
and when it's almost the exact same
Yeah.
vibe. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah.
So with the total, yeah,
Yup.
I'm a 17.5 out of 20. and you are 8.5. So that's out of 20.
Damn.
That's low. But,
Damn.
like we said, we don't bash
Damn.
comics. That's not our value.
Yeah.
It's just it's not for
Yeah.
us or it is for us. That's
Yeah.
it.
That's all it
That's all it
means.
means.
That's all it
Yeah.
means. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Cool. Well, I am a party pooper today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Check us out next week where we will be back. And also, just be aware that we are going to be uploading some smaller content weekly. So just stay on the lookout for that. And when you see it, like it and watch it and do all the things you do with it.
give us feedback too.
Anything you got, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah, please give us feedback. Yeah, yeah. Anything from you, Jacob?
No, I liked the contrast in our ratings. That's part of the
Yeah,
reason why we do this because, just to talk
absolutely.
about it, so it's fun. So, no, I'm good.
I
I'm good.
agree.
Peace. I'm good.
Cool. See you guys later.